Hey travellers, an Aussie abroad here. Come explore Wagga with Chris, myself, and our local friend Jazz as we work our way through the old military town in New South Wales. The Wagga Zoo and Aviary is an 8-minute drive from the centre of town, or a 45-minute walk for those of you who enjoy to get out and about taking in the sun and crisp country air, and is located in the back corner of the Botanic Gardens. It has a large range of both native and non-Australian animals and birds. It's a free zoo, sponsored by the local council, and is a perfect place for both the tourists to Wagga and the local residents to spend some time with the beauty of nature. Amongst these animals, you are likely to see the common wombat, red kangaroo, eastern grey kangaroo, swamp wallabies, alpacas, domestic goats, domestic rabbits, donkeys, guinea pigs, and many, many more. The zoo in Wagga has one of the greatest collections of bird outside of a capital city zoo. The free flight aviary is a stunning feature, a very large enclosure covered with netting which allows the birds to fly freely as people walk through the enclosure on the clearly defined paths and wooden walkways. Some of the walkways are even elevated so that you may see the treetops and the birds in flight. Throughout the enclosure there are sections set aside for feeding, and notice boards indicate by pictures which birds are most likely to be feeding in that area. This central area to the sanctuary houses a large population of over 300 birds. The red kangaroo is the largest of all of the kangaroos, the largest terrestrial mammal native to Australia, and the largest extant marsupial. It is found across mainland Australia, avoiding only the more fertile areas in the south, the east coast, and the northern rainforests. This species is a very large kangaroo with long pointed ears and a squared off muzzle. Males have short red-brown fur fading to pale buff below and on the limbs. Females are generally smaller than males and are blue-grey with a brown tinge, although females found in arid zones are generally coloured more like males. These majestic creatures can cover 8 to 9 metres in a single bound, while reaching heights of up to 3 metres. The town of Wagga was the starting point of the Kangaroo March, one of a series of snowball marches conducted in New South Wales during the war, where groups of recruits would march towards Sydney and appeal to men in the towns along the route to join them and enlist in the Australian Imperial Force. The local rugby league football team, the Wagga Kangaroos, chose its name in commemoration of the march.
It's furry.
Is it like donkey fur?
Yeah.
Come here! Donkey!
Donkey.
Aww.
Get closer, Jazz.
I can't!
I touched his butt. You're going to miss out if you don't get in there, you know?
I'm small, I don't have long arms.
I don't have long arms. Just jump in there.
If you're from overseas, and I know some of you are, you may be wondering what this monolithic looking dinosaur bird thing is. This is what we call an emu. The emu is the second largest living bird by height after its relative the ostrich. It is found only in Australia where it's the largest native bird. The emu's range covers most of mainland Australia, but the Tasmanian emu and King Island emu subspecies became extinct after the European settlement of Australia in 1788. Emus are soft-feathered, brown, flightless birds with long necks and legs, and can reach up to 1.9 metres in height. Emus can travel great distances, and when necessary can sprint at up to 50 kilometres an hour. They forage for a variety of plants and insects, but have been known to go for weeks without eating. They drink infrequently, but take in copious amounts of water when the opportunity arises. Breeding takes place in May and June, and fighting among females for a mate is common. Females can mate several times and lay several clutches of eggs in one season. The male, however, does the incubation. During this process, he hardly eats or drinks and loses a significant amount of weight. The eggs hatch after around 8 weeks, and the young are nurtured by their fathers. They reach full size after about 6 months, but can remain as a family unit until the next breeding season. Both the emu and the kangaroo are important cultural icons of Australia, appearing on the coat of arms and various coins. The bird, however, features prominently in Indigenous Australian mythology.
Oh, this guy's making it with a fence.
Whoa, what are you doing, man?
The Wagga Wagga Zoo and Aviary is well worth going to. It takes about an hour or two to get around and have a look at everything that they've got to offer, and considering it's free, it's definitely worth a day of your time.
That sounded like a bad kettle. What's this? It looks like one of those afro wigs from the 90s.
Oh my god, he's so scary! He's scary!
Tonight we've decided to have dinner at the Hog's Breath Cafe. So, hopefully, some good food. A steakhouse, I believe.
Hogs Breath Cafe is an Australian and international chain of steakhouse restaurants owned by famous Australian cricketer Brad Hogg. The first Australian business restaurant model was opened in July 1989 at Airlie Beach, Queensland, by Don Elgie. In November the following year, a second store was opened in Mooloolaba. Additional locations quickly followed, with stores opening in Townsville, Cairns, and interstate Darwin.
What'd you have for your entree, Chris?
Calamari.
Yeah. And how was it?
Good.
Good. Good calamari?
Good calamari.
Right. Some of the better calamari that you've had?
No, just good.
Hog's Breath is essentially a steakhouse that promotes prime rib as its signature dish. These steaks have been slow cooked for 18 hours in a special oven. The restaurant chain also sells pasta, burgers, wraps, salads, and seafood dishes, as well as their signature side dish, curly fries. Now keep in mind that when you go to the Hog's Breath, dishes are really quite expensive, so if you're on a budget, it's probably worth finding a cheaper alternative. After a semi-disappointing dinner, I made the guys come with me to go visit just down the road the Victory Memorial Garden. The Victory Memorial Gardens are located on the banks of the Wollondry Lagoon in the central business district of Wagga Wagga. The 2 hectares of land were formerly the site of the old police barracks and police paddock, where all of the police horses were kept. It became land for public recreation in February 1931. In 1925, the Wagga Wagga Municipality Council planned a tribute to those who fought and died in the First World War. The council and Returned Sailors Soldiers Imperial League of Australia originally planned a memorial hall to be added onto the council chambers, but public preference was for gardens. There was a public competition for the design, which was won by Thomas Kerr, who was the chief landscape gardener of the Royal Botanic Gardens in Sydney. Works on the garden started in 1928. In the midst of the war, there had been a proposal for a memorial arch, as you would have seen as we entered, to honour the volunteer soldiers from 1916. The proposal gained momentum when the servicemen returned from the war. A plan was finally conceived to construct a monumental archway entrance into the Memorial Gardens in 1925. The Victory Memorial Gardens arch finally completed at a cost of £1,700 and was officially unveiled amid great fanfare on Anzac Day 1927 by Major General C.F. Cox. Hey guys, hope you're liking the episodes, thanks for swinging by. Do us a massive favour and go and hit that like and subscribe button. Stay tuned for the next episode in which we go and visit the Temora Aviation Museum. And Aussie Abroad, signing off.